what's important to know and to understand is that there are not types of girls. There are not sluts who have this special, particular style of life that, these wanton women, and there's a whole mythology that is created around this. And women will definitely try not to identify themselves with this group, and they will, because of the judgment that's placed upon it. Many women will have just as much, if not way more sex with way more people than sluts, but they're good girls because they're just really quiet about it. Yeah? And they have to be because of the judgment that is placed upon them. What there are women going through different parts of their lives looking for different things out of men. The very same woman, over the course of her sexual life, may go through something of the following sequence. She'll lose her virginity. This generation will be about 14, 15, 16 maybe. Yeah? Which is kind of like shocking, but that's the way it is. So she'll lose her virginity in her mid to late teens, and that'll probably be some random encounter, and then she'll probably go through a period of sexual experimentation where she'll go, I get all this attention from men, they want me, I'm experimenting, and she'll sleep with a bunch of guys. And then probably one of these guys is going to go and brag about it to all his friends, and then she's going to start getting called a slut. And it's going to damage her reputation, her self-esteem, she's going to feel shit about herself, and then she's going to stop having sex with guys, or she's going to suddenly not talk about it, and she's going to hide it. Yeah? And then she's probably going to start, at some point, decide that she'd like to have a boyfriend. She's going to get a boyfriend. She may stay with him for 2-3 years. And then she's going to go through some horrific breakup, and she's going to come out, and she's going to be in this situation where she's focusing on her career or studies or travel or something, and she's like, I just don't want the heck of a relationship. I don't want to sleep with a bunch of random guys. I'm going to start sleeping with that guy who works at the coffee shop once a week because he's chilled out, it's no big drama, and she'll have some, gradual long-term fling with this guy. It doesn't mean so much. Then she might go on a holiday to Ibiza and just go all wild and fuck 3 guys in a week, or 5 guys, or whatever else. And so on throughout her sexual life. And this girl, because of the way that societies around the world judge women who decide to have sex because they like sex, will tend to keep the overall demeanour that she is a good girl, that she is not that type of girl. Yeah? And her sexual life will only really ever be evident or hinted at when she has a boyfriend. Yeah? That's why, when you get very good with women and you get a lot of them into bed, often you will hear these words coming almost with, you can't help but not laugh when you hear this girl say over and over again just before they have sex with you, just so you know, I'm not that kind of girl. Yeah? I don't usually do this. I'm like, yep. And maybe she doesn't, but they all feel the need very, very regularly to say these words to you. Now, what I do here is something very sneaky, but it ties in with her fears here. Girl says, I can't have sex with you, I'm not that type of girl. Yeah? Or I'm a good girl. And I say to her, I know, you have a really good heart, I can see that. Now, what have I done with that in that moment? It's sneaky, but it's also actually demonstrates a lot about my understanding of women. She said, I'm a good girl, brackets, that's why I can't have sex with you tonight. And then what have I done? I've redefined what it means to be a good girl. Because she's thinking that if I have sex with this guy right now, he's going to think I'm a slut or a bad girl, or I'm not valuable. Yeah? And I've said to her, whether or not you decide to have sex with me is irrelevant in terms of my judgment of you as a person. I've said to her, I can see that you have a good heart. That's why I like you. If you have sex with me, that's not going to affect that. In fact, that's going to increase my respect for you. And therefore, she feels okay about doing what she actually wants to do. If you want to be a man who has a lot of sex in your life, then you are going to need to be able to wield a very powerful sword, which is the sword of non-judgment. You are going to have to show women that you understand they have sexual desires. And they have rampant sexual desires, not just for sex with their boyfriends of multiple years. And yet, they're put in this really difficult situation where they are not actually supposed to, they are told they're not allowed to have these desires, they're not allowed to express them, except within very, very confined areas. That's the situation. And as you start to look at this, you start to realize that beautiful women don't live in this amazing, privileged world that we can't ever touch. They actually live in a really complicated maze. And they have to navigate through this by, always looking great, being, friendly enough to keep people involved in their lives, but keep a certain amount of distance with people who are just trying to use them for sex. If they want to have sex with a stranger, they have to do it with a whole lot of, covert actions. They have to lie. All of these things that we don't have to deal with. Yeah. And if you start to show a woman that you understand that this world is complicated for her, particularly when she's navigating her sexual relationships, and you give her respite by going, when you're with me, none of that shit matters. You can chill out and do what you would like to do. That's an amazing relief for a woman. And then she can be that type of girl, or be a dirty girl, or be crazy in bed, or have a one-night stand, or have a casual relationship, or dress up like a nurse, or whatever it is that she wants to do, because you don't judge her on that. You don't judge her worth as a person on that. You see her that this is what she wants to do, and you can engage with that. That's really powerful. So guys who have a very strong judgment about, that there's sluts here and there's good girls here, and so you marry a good girl and you fuck the sluts on the side, and that kind of Madonna whore dynamic, which is pervasive in many societies around the world, those guys typically don't get a lot of great results with women. And women don't really like being around them because it's dangerous for them, because there's that fear of judgment hanging over them constantly. Does this make sense? Cool. What do women want? There's out of men. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of truisms and buzzwords that will pop up here. So, well, let's throw them out there. What are some of the characteristics that women want from men? Sense of humour. Confidence. Value, right. He must be valuable, okay, in terms of the hierarchy of his society. A leader. She wants a leader, right. What else? She wants to escape. Yep, okay. Security, comfort, all right, yep. She wants to feel love. Okay. You've hit on all these major ones. We've all heard these things, right? And at first you're like, okay, cool, all right, so I need to be a leader, I need to be confident, I need to, what else? What were some of the other ones? I need to make be lovable, I need to be nice, I need to have a good sense of humour, etc., etc., etc. And so, as a man, you're like, okay, well, I want to get women like this list of things, so if I become these things, or I develop these things, okay, then I get girls, right? Cool. But most guys fail to think, well, hang on, what is it about being with a leader that is enjoyable for her? Why does she give a fuck about you being a leader or confident? Because just you being confident is not a thing where she's like, oh, wow, he's confident. Good for him. I'll go and have sex with him because he feels confidence. No. She's interested in these traits because it's true. I mean, these traits certainly are things that can be attractive. But you've got to look at why. Why does she care that you're a leader? And that's one of the, I want to look at 3 of these in the time that I have left. 3 that I think are really important. Okay, which the first one being leadership. So, women want to be with a leader, with the leader of the pack, with the guy who's, leader of men, who's got people following him and so on. And then you ask guys, well, why does she, well, because he's alpha. Why? Because evolutionary psychology. Yeah, okay. Why does she care? A woman only wants to be with a man who has authority to lead. just trying to lead people, like I'll see this with guys who are just starting out. They're like, okay, I need to lead a girl. So they're chatting to her and they just suddenly like grab her by the wrist and start tugging at her. They're like, yeah, okay, I'm going to lead her, right? And you see the girl going, yeah. And the guy's like, fuck, did the leading thing, was being a leader, didn't work. Don't get it. Because it was not enjoyable to follow this leader. That's why she didn't go with him. This is a very important point to take. You can have authority to lead two ways. The first one is through fear and violence. It's very effective, has been used throughout history to lead people. Come this way or I will stab you with this pike. Yeah. Join this great utopia or we will kill your family. Yep. And this exists, most of you guys live within this in your workplaces. No, I won't say most of you, but it's quite likely that many of you have an authority figure in your life who is your boss, whom perhaps you don't respect or like, and maybe you think they're an idiot, and yet this person has authority over you because they can get you fired and suddenly take away your livelihood. So therefore you have to follow them. I mean, I know for myself, everyone's had an experience where they've lived under that, right? Okay, so this is one way to have authority to lead. Doesn't work so well in seduction. Yeah? Trying to fear a woman into bed is not something that I would suggest. Yeah? So if we can't have authority to lead using fear, then how do we have authority to lead? The only way in seduction that leadership is of any value and that you have an authority as a leader is if when the person follows you, they benefit. Yeah? A good leader, a good king, leads through making sure that their subjects benefit every time they ask them to do something. Yeah? That's the key to good leading.